Hey, I have had a really productive couple of days and have smashed some goals with my writing. Awesome. I thought I might backtrack a little bit and talk a bit about the things that get my creative juices flowing and really help me when I'm sort of in the process of designing games and just sort of starting to flesh out ideas and things like that. There's a few things that I really love to do, and there's one that I hate works so well. So I'll talk about those, I suppose, in today's video. I'm Nathan. I am a dad, a teacher, a husband, and I write and publish role-playing games. I've been doing it for a really long time, about 20 years. I don't do it full time. It is a hobby. It is a passion to publish games. But I talked in my last video, my first video, at least the first video for this channel really, about why I'm doing these videos. And I thought I'd just dive in today. So this is pretty quick. I'm still in the Airbnb that I was talking about in the last video. So you can go back and watch that if you want some ideas about, or if you want to understand the context of what's going on here. In fact, it's time for me to check out. So this will be a short video, I think. So anyway, things that help me get my creative juices flowing. And so I'm talking about when I've got a spark of an idea, or I don't have any idea at all. I'm just going about my daily life, and then things happen, and then I'm like, ooh, and then I start to get creative, all right? So the first thing, and it's a no-brainer, I'm pretty sure that everybody does this for inspiration, and that is I read lots of different fiction, and I watch lots of films or TV series and stuff like that. And I try to watch in a wide variety, and I read in a slightly narrower range, just because I don't have a lot of time to read. I typically read before I go to sleep, and so I want to focus on the stuff that I know I enjoy. My guilty pleasure of reading is Clive Cussler books. Don't judge me, but they're kind of like comfort food for reading. Just the act of reading and seeing the way that things are described, the new ways that the main characters get involved, or the way the authors can get the same characters involved in the same kinds of events in new and different ways, can spark the imagination and get things rolling. And oftentimes they're tied to historical events or fictional historical events, and that could spark my interest in going off and searching or researching something for history. I also read science fiction a fair bit, and fantasy sometimes, but not as much, typically because those books are longer, and because I don't get a lot of time to read, and I typically read slowly, it can take a long time to get through books. Like I've been reading Brandon Sanderson's Mistborn, first book in Mistborn, forever. And it's not that thick, but when I'm only reading before I go to bed, that's all I get through. I also read graphic novels and comics and stuff like that. I picked up this one recently, 3 Keys by David Messina. I'm really quite enjoying that. It's not a particularly new book, I think, but I'm liking it. The other thing that I do to sort of spark my imagination and get the creative juices flowing is play games. I play lots of board games with my friends. I do have a bunch of solo games, but I don't play them very often. But I like to read the rules and look at the components and see how the designers have approached particular problems and think about why they have done that. And that just gets my brain working a little bit and starts to think about how would I have approached that problem. And that's often enough to just spark ideas and stuff. I have basically a once a week regular role-playing game, and occasionally I'll get another one in somewhere. But in between, I'm always reading RPGs. So I'm often buying new PDFs on DriveThruRPG, or if I can find a hard copy, physical copy at a game shop, then I'll pick that up, or when I go to a convention or that sort of thing. I went to Free RPG Day and grabbed a bunch of stuff, so at the moment I'm just teasing my way through Otherscape by Son of Oak Games. So it's like a cyberpunk version of their City of Mist game. interesting. I can see a lot of correlations in terms of the system with Neon City Overdrive. It's got some different bells and whistles, some different levers to pull. Some of them I quite like, and some of them I think the simplicity of my own Neon City Overdrive is preferable for my tastes anyway. So playing lots of different games, or reading the rules to games, or reading the setting material for games is also really good to get my creative juices flowing. The other thing I like to do is just write notes or scribble. I've got some drawing and painting apps on my iPad, and I just doodle pictures and draw pictures and things like that. Often of things I'm thinking about, like setting ideas or character ideas and things like that. They're not award-winning art, but you know, it gets my ideas out of my head and onto my page, and I can see sort of the things that I'm thinking about coming a little bit to life in a childish scribble kind of way. And then that will often spark different ideas, because like I'll draw something and it doesn't turn out the way that I want it to, and I'm like, first of all, I might be a bit, what's going on? But then I might spot something in what I've doodled. Doodle. How old am I? Childish. I might spot something in what I've drawn and tease that out a bit, or expand it on the iPad and play around with that a little bit, and that might spark some new ideas or that sort of thing. The other thing I do is I write notes all the time. So I've got notebooks that I keep with me. This one, I've got heaps of these that I work through. I've not written anything on the cover of this one, but this is the latest one I'm up to, and it's got, you know, notes in there sometimes and that sort of stuff. So I don't know what that is, so I better not show you too much. That might be a brilliant money-making idea for our next game, so let's hang on to that. Unlikely. But I make these notes. So, you know, when you're like in the shower and you got nothing else to do, and your brain starts thinking. So this is my other idea. So the notebook goes in hand with my mindfulness, I suppose. It's those moments where you're not doing anything. So the two places that often happen for me are in the shower, you know, washing my hair, washing my beard, that sort of thing, or as I'm laying in bed before I go to sleep. So these are two times I can't be on a device. I'm not listening to music. I'm not talking to anyone. I am just in my own head. When I'm driving to work as well, I've got a 40-minute drive to work every day. So if I turn off the radio and I'm just in my own head and paying attention to the road, I let my brain just wander and percolate, and you know, the things that sort of spring out of my brain, I start to remember things that I hadn't really paid attention to during the day or the last few days, and these days in particular, it tends to be more interesting or positive things that come to mind, and then I start to tease them out a little bit. I will admit I'm an anxious person, and they might have in the past been the times when anxious thoughts or doubts would have crept into my mind, but I've been seeing a psychologist a fair bit. I'm on medication for my anxiety, and these two things have helped a lot. And so now when I have those quiet moments, I'm more reflective, and that really you know, is great for my creative process. So yeah. And then I jump out of the shower, or I flick the light on and annoy my wife, and I scribble some notes in my notebook or onto my phone, which I would show you, but I'm talking to you on it right now. I think I said in my last video that I've flipped to the phone more, and for my current project I've got thousands of words of notes, and a lot of those have come from when I've jumped out of the shower, or I've sat upright in bed at night and have jotted down this spark of an idea that's come to me. just out of my subconscious. So you're probably connecting this idea and that idea, and something that I've been trying to figure out, oh, excuse me, or puzzle through for a while, and it's there. So in terms of creativity, keep your phone or a notebook handy so that you can, record those sparks of inspiration when you get them. The other reason I like using my phone is because I have it all the time, even when I'm exercising. And this is the thing that helps my creativity, that I hate the idea of. Like, I'm terrible at exercise. The idea of having to get up and go for a walk, I'm like, I could be sitting on the lounge, I could be reading a graphic novel, I could be watching TV or doing a million other. I should be sitting in front of my computer and typing and putting on the pounds and getting, some problems with my back or neck or something. But exercise, it makes a difference. And I hate it because I've been a little overweight for a really long time, and I have sleep apnea. And my doctor's advice is always just exercise more. And that really pissed me off. Like, that really did upset me because I was so tired and exhausted. I didn't have the energy to exercise, but I'm making slow gains. I am making slow gains. And I know when I go out for a half an hour walk, or even get on the treadmill for half an hour, especially if I'm not watching anything on the treadmill, like if I have everything off and I'm just walking, it's another one of those mindfulness moments, like the shower or laying, in bed. But something else happens when you're exercising, and somebody smarter than me with, a knowledge in physiology and brain chemistry and stuff can explain it much better. Leave a comment if you know. It changes the way your brain works. That's all I know. Exercising changes my brain. I feel better, and when I feel better in my head, I'm more creative. So maybe I should exercise more. Maybe the doctor's right. That's why I pay him a fortune when I go to see him. So yeah. Look, I've rambled a fair bit. I still don't know if these videos are worthwhile. I don't know if anybody's watching these videos, but I'm trying. I just want to put them out and have a go and share some thoughts. I am enjoying it as an act of creation and an act of sharing. If you've got any advice about the things you do to be creative, leave a comment or get in touch with me. If you've got any advice about improving my videos, then let me know. I do know I'm using the selfie camera, and I know I can use the front camera on my phone and get like a blurred background and stuff like that. But then I can't see if I'm in frame. So I'm trying to set up so that my phone talks to my iPad so I can see what's going on my iPad, but I couldn't work it out this morning. I'm like, this is meant to be quick and easy, so let's just make a video. Yeah, so that's a video. Say hi. Let me know what you think. Let me know if there's anything you'd like me to talk about. The next video will not be from this closet. If you haven't watched that last video, go check it out. Anyway, thank you very much for your time. I've enjoyed it. I'll catch you next time.